Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efene, whose colleague Malabite just became Senate President of Nigeria.
Good morning.
You know Akpabio is a Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Ruben, that is not the whole story.
Okay.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives is also a Malabite.
It's also a Malabite.
So,
okay.
We'll
So
find
Malabites are now ruling
No.
Nigeria.
so
taking
next
over.
time when you are filling jam form for your kids, you know the university to choose. I need not say more, but congratulations
Wow.
to all Malabites.
Wow.
Making strides in politics and other endeavors, as it were. Now, we'll start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Tinubu, Akpabio, Abass's Emergence, good development for Nigeria, says it's time to get on with serving the people, declares readiness to transparently work with legislature, vows to remain a partner for peace, stability of country. Senate President, Speaker pledge effective cooperation. Adamu, APC will waste no time filling other political offices. Huriwa doubts 10th National Assembly will be independent. SGF governors, others congratulate new National Assembly leadership. Yes, as purpose, as planned, Godswill Akpabio emerged as Senate President, Tajuddin Abass as Speaker of the House of Representatives. Yes, the APC, the ruling party, the president as the leader of the party, did all they could to ensure that they had their way. Nothing unusual really about that. The ruling party, the party with a majority in the House, should produce the Senate President and the Speaker, bearing any unforeseen maneuvers. This time around, I think everybody seemed to be alert because by 7 a.m. yesterday, almost everybody in the National Assembly, all the senators-elect, House of Representative members-elect were all seated. No room for anybody pulling a fast one. And the leadership of the APC policed every move to the core, especially in the House of Representatives, where everybody had to answer his father's name openly. And at the end of the day, Tajuddin Abass overwhelmingly won that contest. Of course, there was what looked like a contest in the Senate, where Senator Abdul Aziz Yari was able to pull 46 votes, which means there were people who already stood behind him. It doesn't matter how he mobilized those people, but the fact that 46 members stood by him. But if this National Assembly, they have pledged to cooperate with the president, cooperation does not mean subservience or rubber stamp. Yes, as Akpabio puts it, they have to cooperate for the good of Nigerians who voted them into power, for the good of the country. But that does not mean they should not be independent, carry out their oversight functions. Again, if that does not happen, you cannot blame it on Akpabio. You have substantial number of the minority parties who call themselves the greater majority even before this contest. The time to put that greater majority to work for the good of the legislative business is after this leadership contest that has been put to bed. So we look to the National Assembly to deliver in good governance, to check the executives where the need arises, and of course, to be independent as an independent arm of government. The ruling party having the majority notwithstanding. Now, if we just look above above that story, over 120 people killed since Tinubu's inauguration, says Amnesty International. Well, Amnesty International, they don't perform any magic. You only need to look at the numbers as they are reported and you put them together. The fact that we are still having these needless killings going on is a stark reminder to the president that the business of securing the country, protecting lives and property, which should be uppermost in the minds of any president, is still a great challenge. Now, if we just move over to how other newspapers are reporting the National Assembly election yesterday, leadership election yesterday, this is how the Guardian puts it. Tinubu's men lead 10th National Assembly, vow not to be rubber stamp. And, of course, there is the Punch newspaper, which is reporting 10th National Assembly, Tinubu's candidates floor APC's rebel. Akpabio leads Senate. Abass beats Wase Jaji, emerges House Speaker. Yari embraces Akpabio after defeat. National Assembly won't be independent. Presidency handpicked leaders, NNPP and Labour Party saying that. But because the Labour Party, they have members in both chambers of the National Assembly. NNPP, they also has members in both chambers. We need to see them also in action. If they think the leadership will steer the National Assembly in the direction of rubber stamp, they have a duty to do. And I think the leadership of both parties, as well as the PDP, they should talk to themselves, not crying that, the leadership picked by Tinubu and APC, therefore rubber stamp. No, go and do your work. As opposition parties, you have a job to do to also deliver on your mandate as opposition parties. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, 10th National Assembly, how Akpabio Abass flawed opponents. Now, after the National Assembly leadership matter settled, the Business Day is reporting focus shifts to Tinubu's cabinet as Akpabio emerges Senate president. Of course, the president has stated that competence rather than politics will shape his selection of ministers. Yes, of course, he doesn't have a choice like President Muhammadu Buhari, who took as long as he wanted before appointing ministers. This time, there's an extant law that compels the president to appoint his ministers within 60 days. By the end of July, all ministers must be in place. But if what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done so far is anything to go by, I don't think we should have any problem having his ministerial list anytime soon. Now, if we look at the Daily Trust newspaper quickly, lead story. Students loan. Federal government to introduce tuition fees in varsities. Many students will leave school. ASU. I will improve investment in education. Tinubu, nothing to celebrate in new law dawns. We will speak on new law today. Ministry. Yes, I knew there is no free lunch in Freetown. I said it yesterday.
Can I comment on the students' law?
Yes.
I wanted to, yes.
Yes, please. Okay, please go ahead.
Just have the floor.
I yield the floor to you.
We yield the floor to you. We yield the floor. We yield the floor.
Now, in principle, as was pointed out yesterday, this was a promise made and promise kept. Education is important. Since 1955, when Chief Obafemi Awolowo and the Action Group introduced the idea of free education, that has been a popular thing, education as a way of empowering the people. And that idea was relevant then, it's still relevant today. So President Tinubu also towing that line is in order. As was also pointed out yesterday, one major thing that we need to work out is the school-to-work transition. You can produce these graduates, but these graduates, if they don't have jobs that they can do, how are they going to pay back the loans? Number three, it's not only in Nigeria that student loan is an issue. In the US, Donald Trump talked about it. Also, President Biden has been talking about, student loans is an issue. Even in the UK, it's also an issue. Many of the students in the UK or in the United States are unable to pay back the loans. So that's another area. So the sustainability of it, the efficacy of the loan idea is another issue to worry about. Number 4, we had the student loans board in this country before. In fact, we still have, there's no evidence that decree number 23 of 1992, setting up a student loans board in this country, had been repealed. So questions may be asked around all of that. Number 4 or 5, the ASU, Academic Staff Union of Universities, has already complained that there is discrimination. Although Section 2 of this Access to Higher Education Act talks about equality, to say that why is it only poor students? What if even students that are adjudged to be rich need loans? Finally, why is it President Tinubu signing the law? What is he signing? This higher access education bill was first proposed in 2016 by Benjamin Biamila. It was passed by the House of Representatives early 2022. It was passed by the Senate in November 2022. Section 58 of the Constitution talks about 30 days window in Section 58 sub 4. That 30 days window has since passed. Section 58 sub 5 says, okay, if the president does not sign within 30 days, the House can pass it again. And when it passes it again, the president does not need to give assent. So why is the president giving assent to a law that the bill that has already passed the threshold under Section 58 sub 4? And if it is true, as Mr. Lake pointed out, that it was passed May whatever, then the president does not need to sign it again, because that's the import of Section 58 sub 5. However, we need clarification in that regard, no matter how well-intentioned the law may be. So, but someone has to go to court to challenge it. If somebody challenges it in court, there may be an issue, no matter how well-intentioned, as I have said.
Simplicity.